Hi everyone, Dave here, Fit and Healthy Forever. Just something I sort of stumbled across talking to people. Um, are you hungry for carbs all the time? Now, people saying, "Oh, I'm starving hungry, I'm really hungry." If you're on the right eating plan, you won't get this. But this is about, are you hungry for carbs all the time? What this means basically, if you are, is that you're running your body on sugar for fuel. Now, probably most people for the entire lives have run the body on sugar, and you're always getting highs and lows. So what happens is when you eat carbs, you increase insulin. The purpose of insulin is to lower blood sugar, lower sugar in the blood basically. And when the sugar is low in the blood, it triggers hunger. So you get hungry, you want to eat. This starts to become a vicious circle, to the point where over time you get obese over a long period of time. This is most people. There's always people born with a fast metabolism who can tolerate carbs, don't get overweight in fact, but that doesn't necessarily mean their insides are in good nick. People can look good on the outside, you need to make sure that the inside's in good nick. Now, so what would you normally do then if you're craving carbs all the time? Your blood sugar's up, then it's down, then you eat, and then it's down, and this is how it goes. It's a vicious circle, as I said. Over time, when you feel that you're getting overweight or obese or fat, or whatever you want to call it, so then you'll probably decide to go on a diet, and you go on a low calorie, low fat diet because that's what's being promoted all the time. This is what everyone promotes probably in the world today, people who are not informed, shall we say. So usually when you go on a low fat, low carb diet, you're eating the same foods, but you're eating smaller portions. But you'll still spike your insulin because you're still eating a certain amount of carbs. This will again lower sugar in the blood. You're going to be hungry, you're craving sugars, which eventually over time is going to ruin your metabolism. And you could possibly be insulin resistant or pre-diabetic and go on to being diabetic. So the consequences of this is that your weight loss normally slows or stops. You've destroyed your metabolism. You're still what you might call fat, overweight, obese, and you're still craving food. You're still hungry. Does this sound familiar to anyone? If I can go back 10 years or more, it's familiar to me. This is what I used to be like, and you'll eat anything sugary to stop your craving, and then you'll get a high where you've got energy, and then as soon as that wears off, you get a low. So I have been through it. So why is this? Basically because you're on the wrong eating plan. So to fix this and get rid of all your cravings and your hunger, you need to try intermittent fasting. Now, I've gone on and on about this. I've done a couple of videos on it. It's so easy to implement. You won't be craving food all the time like you are at the minute if this is your sort of typical day. Eventually, if you've got the mindset to do it, and I always say this because it is a mindset, you could combine that with ketogenic diet, which is very tough to do. I've been doing it now for a couple of years or more. But once you get into a routine like anything else, you can get into the habit of doing the right things. You can get in the habit of going to the gym or not going to the gym. You can get in the habit of eating sugary foods or not eating sugary foods. You can change your taste buds over time. People try some of the recipes that I do and go, oh no, couldn't eat that. But you can change your taste buds over time. It's not horrible food, it's just less sugar than you're used to getting. So you need to try some of these things. There's hundreds and hundreds of recipes on YouTube. So, first of all, stop getting carried away with the numbers on a scale and or target weight. It's absolute BS. It should be more about being healthy. Diet should be healthy, and dropping a dress size or a trouser size isn't, shall we say, the main goal. If you can do that and stay healthy, fantastic, that's your ideal world. With mainstream fad diet, for instance, would you know how much fibre you're consuming? You need I'd say 25 to 40 grams a day. I try to get close to 40 grams a day of fibre. That's for get your intestinal tract cleaned out, working properly, your stool working properly, and so on. Well, do you know how much salt, potassium you're getting? Now, I did something on salt before. Your intake of salt alone is not, shall we say, a primary concern. As long as you're getting 5 times more potassium than you get in salt, then it doesn't really matter. If you're having a lot of, shall we say, ready meals, canned foods, pre-prepared meals, pizza, stuff like that, your salt intake is going to be through the roof, but you're not getting enough potassium because you're not eating the right foods. You need to be eating lots of leafy green vegetables, salads, avocados are a good source of potassium. Also, the cream of tartar powder, if you mix that in water, that is a massive source of potassium. So as long as you're getting 5 times more potassium than salt, you're okay with your salt intake. But would you know that? Probably not. Do you know how much of your carbs are sugary? If you look at food labels, it will say whatever food you're looking at, might be bread, might be rice, it will say per 100 grams usually, carbohydrate is X amount, of which are sugars. Now, if the big majority of that is sugars, you really should be steering clear of it. So you need to look at food labels, and I've said this before. So you need to know these things if you're going to get on the right track. Are you getting enough healthy fats in your diet? Okay, if not, you need to, because it's essential for your bodily function. I just wanted to get this out there because when you're talking to people, they're always starving, hungry, or they need to get some food, or blah, blah, blah. If you get on the right eating plan, you will not have this sort of thing happening to you. Give it time, try it, make some changes. As I keep saying, I say try things for up to 6 weeks before you decide if it's good, bad, indifferent, if you can stick to it or whatever. But you can't go on like this. It's going to cause you problems of disease and health issues down the line. And people never associate it with diet, but everything comes back to your diet. Remember, I'm saying them words, everything comes back to your diet, no matter which way you look at it. Forget genetics, it plays a very, very, very tiny part in a lot of diseases. They reckon less than, I think it's 3% or 2% or something, of diseases are genetic. Your genetics haven't changed in 40,000 years or more. It's genetic expression which is different than genetics. I'll try and do a separate video on that. Okay, thanks everybody for listening in. Once again, I do appreciate the time you take to listen in, those of you that do. Hope you make 1 or 2 changes. Again, listen to someone like Andy Filmer. The guy's made tremendous strides, and he thinks some of that is down to the advice that I'm giving on here, and I'm so grateful for him saying that. He's going to do a video with me at some point in the future when he's got down to what he considers to be his ideal weight, and he will tell you what he's been doing and how much of that advice has come from me. I don't profess to have all the answers, but I have some of them, and I think if people make these changes, do your own research, try it for yourself, see what you come up with. Okay, thanks again for listening in. As always, like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and stay fit and healthy forever. Okay, until the next video.